It's recommended by the National Institute of Health that we work out most days of the week. And actually, you begin to atrophy muscle 72 hours after a workout, which basically means you should be doing resistance training on every body part every other day. Don't think you have time? Well, shorten, condense, and speed up your workout through combination exercises today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast
with Garrett Williamson.
Health, wellness, exercise, nutrition, and a whole lot more. Got questions? Call us and leave a message at 251-278-EDGE or message us at Personal Edge Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, at Team PE on Twitter, or personaledgefitness.com.
I didn't do resistance training in high school. I was buck 30 when I signed on with the University of Georgia to run track with them. I actually never lifted a weight, and that's not entirely true. I'd done gymnastics to train for pole vaulting, and of course I'd pole vaulted through the season, and I really knew about my sophomore, junior year that I really needed to build some muscle. I knew very little about it, and I have to say that I asked the strength coach, who happened to be the football coach at our school, on 3 different occasions to set up and design a program for me, and I told him since I'd already had 3 state championships under my belt and a state record, that I needed a little more strength, and I knew that I had a good shot at a college scholarship if I could just get a little stronger and a little faster. And I knew that I would need strength training to develop for that because I'd already gotten some interest from some schools. And he, I don't know if it just time or just refused to do so, but I could never get a program together. So I actually wandered into the weight room preseason. And I remember seeing all these individuals that were lifting and doing things that I had no idea of. I mean, I'd heard of bench press, I'd heard of deadlift and squat, I'd heard of these things before, but I had no clue what they were or what they actually did. But I did really well with body weight because I'd been a gymnast, so pull-ups were easy, dips were easy, push-ups, sit-ups, these kind of things were very easy for me. But in our particular weight room, which was well equipped at the time, there was a perimeter of machines. So I would go in and do the perimeter of machines, and I would go through each one of the machines maybe 3 times, and that was my quote-unquote weight workout. That's all the lifting I had done in high school. And so when I got into college and was introduced by the strength coach at the University of Georgia into strength training, I really got into it. I really got excited about it. I could start to see changes, and I was starting to learn what the exercises actually did. I was fascinated with the why of why are we doing this, and I had certain muscles that I wanted to develop. One thing for the look, and second thing, of course, for the strength and for my pole vaulting. Honestly, I'm not sure if it was the opposite sex that was the driving force or the possibility of maintaining a scholarship, but one or the other was keeping me in the weight room. Now, when I got going in the weight room, I did what a lot of especially young male athletes, young male new adopters to strength training do, and that is start getting real deep into the muscle, real defined. And so we start off with doing chest one day and then back another day and then doing quads one day and doing glutes another day. And you break into this 7-day routine where actually you're going real deep into the muscle, but it's taking a lot of time. And why? Because we have a lot of time. We wanted to live in the gym, and as soon as I got off campus and got into a great fitness center where other guys and friends of mine would go and work out, and of course there were ladies there too. So it was especially in the late 80s, early 90s, the fitness centers became kind of the new singles bars. So it would, spending lots of time in a gym sounded awesome. And so, doing 6, 7, 12, 9, 13 sets of chest sounded like a great idea. But then I did what a lot of people do, and I suspect most of us do, and that is we kind of move on in life. We graduate college, or we get into more responsible adulthood and have to take on a job or join the military, or we have to take care of the family, something. Our responsibilities change, and we can't live in a gym as much as we used to enjoy, and we may not even enjoy living in a gym. And so therefore we start condensing our routines. We start trying to get the biggest bang for the buck and biggest bang for our time. And so we start getting combinations in there, chest, triceps, and shoulders. And then we start going like back, biceps, hamstrings, these kind of things. Start with combinations like that. And the combinations get even tighter. Upper body one day, lower body another day. A popular split that we use here at Personal Edge Fitness, which is a push-pull. Chest, triceps, shoulders, quads, glute, everything that pushes. And then back, biceps, hamstrings, everything that pulls. And these modifications are done because most of the time they're done for time reasons. They're done for expediency. You're looking to get the most that you can in the amount of time that you have because you don't have the time that you used to live in a gym, if you ever did. Maybe you weren't one of us nuts that like to actually go to a gym and work out a lot. And maybe you have that kind of time and that's something you enjoy doing now. And hey, this may or may not be for you. Actually, there are aspects of it that can, because I can actually make bigger bang for your buck, even in the larger amounts of time that you like to spend. But this is mostly dealing with the fact that just because time passes on the calendar, just because our lifestyles change, the recommendations from the National Institute of Health, which are basically what we need, don't change. The fact that we do need to exercise most days of the week does not change. The fact that we do atrophy muscle 72 hours after a workout does not change. It doesn't change it at all, and it especially doesn't change as time passes on the calendar. You know how I feel about that. I think it's absurd to even think that. But as our lifestyles change and we become less active in our normal activities, in other words, half our day is spent playing, then it's more important now to not only stay active, but get as much as we can out of each exercise session. But, I'm a trainer and I do live in a gym because I happen to own one. But even I don't have the time to spend just hours exercising and working out. And I know you don't either. And it's something we work hard on at Personalized Fitness is we really don't think that anybody should plan on spending large amounts of time in the gym. Now that sounds like something that would be very much against my business plan, that I would actually trying to be convincing people to spend even more time in a gym. And I understand that. But the reason it's much more successful to spend less time is because you're going to be able to work out more often if you spend less time. Now here's what I mean by that. If you plan on a 2-hour workout, it's immersive. It's going to be, I'm going to work out 4 sets of every body part. I'm going to spend at least 2 hours in there. And then I'm going to do some cardio. Then I'm going to shower and change. Realistically, how often is that really going to happen? I mean, you can have this great plan of spending all this time, but realistically, when are you actually going to make that happen? This is why a lot of personal trainers fail in the business, because they get heavily exercise focused and not client focused. What's going on in this client's world, what's going on in their schedule, what can they actually make happen? It's sort of like the question I get all the time about what is the best cardiovascular exercise to do. I've mentioned this in other podcasts. It's a very, very popular question that most trainers get. And the answer to it is one that typically annoys a client, and that is the best cardiovascular exercise is the one that you do. If you say it's a ski machine, or it's swimming, or it's biking, and they have nowhere to bike, they don't have access to a ski machine, they hate it, don't like it, whatever, or they don't know how to swim, or really don't have a chance to get to a pool, or it takes too much time to do that, then those are the worst cardiovascular exercises for that individual. But if that individual likes to run, looks forward to going to an aerobic type class, then that is the best cardiovascular exercise. Same thing in this thought process of shorter workouts. Trying to go and plan for a lower amount of time, you have more of a possibility of that workout actually occurring. And so if that workout occurs more on a regular schedule, then it's always going to be better for you. So how do you do that? How do you condense your workouts and make them effective? Make sure that you're not missing anything. Now, of course, the level of intensity of your workout will need to be adjusted depending on what goals you have. I mean, if you're just looking to maintain a level of wellness, you've gotten to your level of wellness. Gosh, I like this. I like where I am. It's great. I could make it better, but this is, I'm feeling pretty fit. I like this. I just want to stay there. Then your intensity level actually changes. It's a little easier. It's a bit easier. One of the best examples I have of that is a gentleman that's been coming to me for 24 years. And I can tell you that his workout basically has not changed since the first probably 6 months of his program. And that sounds like, wow, you're really not a very good trainer if you're not changing his workout out a lot. Oh yeah, we swap out exercise and what have you. But the basic design of his workout, his schedule, his intensity level, even down to some of the exercises that we do, don't change a whole lot. Why? because we're just trying to maintain where he is. Something that's fascinating is that he's with me 23 years. He has not gone backwards in 23 years. Think about that. I have no idea what your current condition is right now. And unless you're suffering from a temporary, sickness or something like that, if you're in general, good health, yeah, you could lose some weight and what have you. What if I said, I'm going to freeze that right now? I'm going to freeze your condition, and this is all the strength you're going to have. This is how you're going to feel. This is going to be your energy level, whatever. But I didn't change it for the next 20 years. Would you take that deal? I have to say the majority of people that I've ever said that question to, in fact, I don't think I've ever had anybody say no to it. The majority of people say yes. Of course it would. They don't go backwards. So keep in mind, yes, when we're working out, we're doing fitness, we want to typically get better. That's the reason everybody comes and sits in my office to meet with me for a consultation. They're not happy with where they are, and they want to get better. They want to change their situation. Absolutely. That's what we do for a living. But at some point in time, you need to know where that better is. And then it's that point, the really, really successful clients find that point and say, okay, now I want to stay here. And you can build up and get there and stay there with short and condensed workouts. Now, I said this podcast is going to be about combined work exercises. That's what we're getting to. Now, before I get going on this, though, I want to tell you about some of these combined exercises and tell you how we actually start to put them together. But this is a very, very individualized programming. Individualized program or individualized type of programming. In other words, I'm going to throw out some ideas, but I've never met you. I'm not sure what your fitness level is. I don't know what your goals are. So I'm not sure what exactly you need to be doing to handle your particular situation. If you're interested in help with that, you can call us here at Personal Edge Fitness, either our Mobile or our Baldwin County location. In Mobile, we're at 251-341-0927. Our Eastern Shore location is 251-651-0927. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions about it at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That's also our website, personaledgefitness.com, and, of course, our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Reach out to us with any kind of questions. We'd love to help you design the right program that's most successful for you. Now, combined exercises. What is that? Okay, well, typically when you're moving a muscle, or better yet, I should say that when you're conducting a simple exercise, like a push-up, you're actually involving other muscles. Now, when we put a program together, we refer to primary movers and secondary movers. For instance, in a basic push-up, I can use a bench press, I can use a lat pull down, I can use a squat, a lot of different exercises. But I'm going to take a push-up because most everybody knows what a push-up is. I mean, basically, you're in a prone position, you're lying on the floor, your hands are by your shoulders, and you're pushing yourself up off the floor and then lowering yourself back down to the floor. Whether you're doing it from your knees or you're doing it from your legs straight out with your entire body off the floor, where you're doing it with one leg, where you're doing it one-handed, you're doing Spider-Man push-ups, pike push-ups, you're doing a shoulder-focused push-up, whatever. It's basically the same type of idea, same type of combination. So everybody knows what a push-up is. When you're in a push-up, the main thing we're going after, and I think a lot of people know this, and those that work out do know this, that you're going after the chest muscle. That's one of your basic exercises for the chest, and a very good exercise. Doesn't require any equipment, can be done most anywhere, and it's one that we use a lot with our online clients. The majority of our online clients have no equipment whatsoever, and we use variations on the push-ups day in and day out. They are fantastic. But the primary movement in that exercise is your chest. But if you've ever done a push-up, you also notice that you feel something like in your shoulders. You feel it in the back of your arm, in your tricep. Now, as soon as I say that, somebody is listening to this thinking, yeah, well, you know what? I feel it. Right. You feel it there. Some people feel it in their neck. You feel it in your abdominals. Well, the reason you feel it in those muscles is that those are all what we call secondary movers. The chest is the main focus, but you're working your triceps when you're doing push-ups. The chest is the primary first focus, and I would say the number one secondary mover would be either shoulders or triceps, but also the abdominals are engaged. You can't hold your body straight out like that, even knees bent and hold it straight without an engagement of your abdominals. You really want to see the abdominals fire and know how often you use them. Pull one. I don't recommend it. But if you've ever pulled an abdominal, you'll find out how much you actually use those abdominals. But we're going to take the premise of primary movers and secondary movers to help you build combination exercises to save you time and work more muscles in a condensed workout. Now, what I wanted to give you is a few different combination exercises that you can actually put together to make a full body routine. And this is, like I say, this is just a few examples. There are so many ways to combine these exercises. And like I say, if you need help with that, contact us. We'll be more than glad to help you put together a combination that actually works for you. Think about a basic squat. Just a basic, just like you're sitting in a chair and standing up. Well, if you to take a basic squat, you're going to be working, of course, your primary mover there, your glutes, your gluteus maximus, the largest muscle in the body. And then, of course, your quadriceps. You can't help but feel those quadriceps. And the reason you feel those quadriceps more than you do the gluteus maximus is you're always going to feel the smaller muscles working before you feel the bigger muscle working. It's more stress on that work muscle. It's the muscle's not big enough to handle as much of the stress, I should say, as the larger muscles. Therefore, you're going to feel it more. But the quadriceps are involved. If you're doing it correctly, and you're doing a slight hip kick in the squat and you're involving those hamstrings, then of course you're going to be working hamstrings. You got a little bit of calf involvement there also. And a few other, the medial glute, some of the other muscles that you may or may not feel that are involved with it. So you've got a lot going on in the squat itself. Now we're going to ramp it up a little bit. We're going to put a few more exercises with it to make a quicker, much more effective, and almost a full body type of exercises. And I'm going to do that by grabbing 2 dumbbells. Now, of course, the weight is dependent on, of course, your fitness level, your ability, what you're comfortable with, or what your trainer advises for you. But take a couple of dumbbells, an equal amount, of course, in each hand, a pair of 8s, pair of 10s, and you're going to drop them by your side. As you squat down, you're going to squat down, go deep, of course, and when you come up, you're going to curl. Curl those dumbbells towards your shoulders. By the time you get to the top of the squat, you should have pressed those weights up over your head. Then as you come back down, when you finish the exercise, you're going to finish with your arms straight over your head. You can be standing straight up and even go up on your toes. In other words, top up, get as tall as you possibly can. And then return, bring those hands down to your shoulders as you come down off your toes to your heels. And then squat down. As you squat down, drop those weights down by your side. And you're going to go back to the beginning position, which is all the way down in a full squat with your hands down by your side and the dumbbells down by your side. And of course, repeat. Now, what you're doing there, let me show you all the exercise, all the muscles that you're getting involved in this program. Of course, in the squat, like we said a minute ago, we've got the glutes involved. We've got the quadriceps involved. Of course, we have the hamstrings if you're doing it correctly and you're doing that hip kick and involving the hamstring. If you need help with that, you can listen to the most important exercise you'll ever do is a podcast I did on that, which talks about the squat, and contact us. We'll be glad to help you go through a basic squat. But you've got glute, quad, hamstring involvement, a little bit of medial glute. And then as you start to stand up and you bring those dumbbells up to your shoulders, you just worked your biceps. You're doing a bicep curl. When you get to the top of the motion and you've pressed your hands all the way up over your head, you've involved the deltoids, you've involved the traps, you've got the entire shoulder group that you've actually exercised by pressing that dumbbell up over your head. And if you go up on your toes, you've worked not only the gastrocnemius, but also the soleus, the 2 big muscles that make up the calf muscle. Now we've got what? Let's just go with simple muscle groups. I won't even break down the calf like into 2 different muscles or all the different muscles involved with the shoulders. I'll just say shoulders, bicep, quadriceps, glute, hamstrings, and calves. Wow. 6 different muscles, or actually different muscle groups that you've involved in one exercise. Now, is that as thorough as doing for your shoulders? Is it going to be as thorough as doing some shrugs, like a set of shrugs, a set of overhead presses, a set of lateral raises, a set of front raises, a set of rear delt flies, and doing face pulls with a band? Is it going to be as effective as that? No, it's not going to be that deep. But first thing you're going to do is you're going to stop atrophy, because you're engaging the muscle so your body knows, hey, look, we don't need to break that muscle down. So you're not going to go backwards. And, of course, the weight you choose and the repetitions that you do, the intensity level that you hit that exercise with, you can actually grow the muscle. You can actually break it down enough so that your nutritional demands and your recovery time will actually repair that muscle and repair it stronger. You can grow. You definitely can grow. You can actually improve doing that combination exercise. Is it as good as doing walking lunges plus hamstring curls and hamstring extensions and bent knee calf raises and straight leg calf raises? No, it's not. But again, depending on the intensity level that you use, depending on the weight that you use, depending on the repetitions, how many sets you do, you can engage all of those muscles. You can actually break down the muscles. You can actually go for that where a lot of people don't feel like they've had a workout unless they are sore. You can actually hit soreness by doing that. That one simple combination. And think about how fast you can actually do that combination. I'm not talking about the repetition itself, but I'm talking about 3 sets of 15 of those, as opposed to 3 sets of 10 to 15 of every one of those other exercises that I mentioned to make up that one combination exercise. How about a push-up row? How about taking the same 2 dumbbells, place them on the floor, put your hands on them just like you're going to do your push-up, whether from knees or from legs out. And as you push up off the floor, bring one hand up by your side and then bring it down to the floor. In other words, doing a single arm row. Push up, bring the other arm up to the side and down. Now you're engaging chest, shoulders, tricep, back, biceps, and back being the latissimus dorsi, the lats, the rhomboids. Even a little bit of the trapezius involved. Some of the rear delt. Just from doing a simple push-up row. Now, this is a pull combination, one that I like a lot. It's not as commonly seen as like the squat press-up overhead. You've probably seen that before. You may have even seen push-up rows before. It's the beginning of an exercise we call a man maker, and I'll cover that one in just a minute. But there's another one that works the back of the body, and the back of the body is typically neglected. And when I say that, I mean everything from core exercises. When people think core, they do a lot of abdominals, but very few people do lower back exercises, which is the back of the abdominals. Now, we work a lot of chest, especially guys, work a lot of chest, triceps, shoulders, but we don't work as much back exercises, lat pull down, rows, and definitely not pull-ups. We work a lot of quadriceps and glutes, but we don't work a lot of hamstrings. Well, this particular exercise works the pull muscles, or most of what we call the back muscles. I'm going to take a straight bar, and we're going to put a sufficient amount of weight on it, but again, you're going to have to gauge that yourself, or contact us. We'll help you break down exactly how much weight you should be using for this exercise. But we're going to take this barbell, and you can actually do it with dumbbells too, and you're going to do an undergrip position. In other words, you're standing up, your palms are facing forward, and you're going to do a basic good morning. If you know what a good morning is, it's one where actually I typically like to do a straight leg deadlift or straight leg good morning. You can do it with a slightly bent knee. But the most important thing is to keep your back arched and your head up. In other words, you should never be looking at the floor. You should be looking straight in front of you. If you keep that arched back position and you bend at the waist, or actually at the hips with that barbell, you're going to engage the hamstrings. You're going to work those hamstrings. You can feel them. It feels like a stretch. When you go over, usually if you possible, to go over to about 90 degrees. Some people can go lower. Some people can't go that far without rounding their back. And if you can't go that far, that's fine. Just don't round your back. Keep your back in that arched position. Now, when you're in that position, once you've gone down as low as you can, stop, hold it. Keep your head looking straight forward. Keep your back arched. You're going to take that undergrip bar position, and you're going to push your elbows backwards, so much so that the barbell comes up and hits you in the stomach. You should basically push those elbows back in a simple row, bringing that barbell to your stomach. While still holding that bent over position, you're going to lower the bar back down, and then you're going to stand erect. So what has happened now is you're doing a good morning with a pause in it. And so you're doing an isokinetic exercise, which is a movement-based exercise. You're moving down into that bent over position with the arch back, and hopefully somewhere down even as far as 90 degrees. And while your hamstrings are sitting there contracting and holding your body in that position, you're going to work it with an isometric by sitting there holding that position. And while you're holding that position, you're going to push your elbows backwards. You're going to engage the biceps. You're going to engage the lats, the latissimus dorsi. You're also going to engage the rhomboids, which are all in the back. And you're going to fire all those muscles by doing that simple row. You're going to do the negative where you're lowering it back down, still maintaining that 90-degree hold with the hamstrings engaged, working the hamstring the entire time. Then you're going to stand erect, which is the second part of the isokinetic move. It's the positive in that move, or the concentric contraction, where you're going to stand erect, and that's going to be finishing the hamstring exercise. Bend over and, of course, repeat. Do that 12 to 15 repetitions. You've got hamstrings development work. You've got bicep work. You've got rhomboids. You've got trapezius. You've even got a little bit of rear delt, and you've definitely got biceps. Again, is it as deep as involved as doing several other exercises? Doing bicep curls, doing lat pull down, and then rhomboids, then pull ups, then some rear delt work. Hamstring curls, hamstring extensions. Is it as effective as doing those? Well, it's effective. It won't go as deep as doing those exercises, but of course it's going to save you a heck of a lot of time. And like I said earlier, you're going to be more apt to actually do the exercise because it takes less time. Let me throw out one more. There's so many different combinations you can do, and I could go on for days. But just whetting your appetite on this to show you, hey, you don't have to be in the gym all day long, and you can do an effective workout, even if you never go back to those detailed, deep exercise, deep, long, drawn-out workouts that take hours and go real deep in the muscle. Even if you just do these combinations exercises for the rest of your life, you can maintain your strength, you can get stronger, you can become faster, the whole 9 yards, mainly because, one thing, if you're doing the exercises correctly and you're doing these combination exercises, but the shortened time allows you not to miss a workout. Now, this last one I'm going to tell you is pretty extreme, but it happens to be a favorite. Now, the burpees, it's funny. Burpees have become basically a 4-letter word. The burpees become almost a running joke in the fitness world. It's a fantastic exercise. If you don't know what a burpee is, simple. Basically, start from a standing position. You squat down, you jump up, you land back in a squat, you drop your hands on the floor, you kick your legs out behind you, you do a push-up. You jump back to your feet, you jump back up and start the whole process again. That is a burpee. And a burpee actually is a huge combination exercise. You're working, of course, quads, glutes, hamstrings, chest, triceps, shoulders. You're doing pretty much everything. The only pull muscle really that's involved, the hamstrings. You're not doing as much back work. You're doing a little bit, but nothing that I would really point out as significant. But it's a fantastic combination exercise. I'm going to add one to that. I'm going to show you one that is even more involved. It's more intense, but it actually covers, when done right, everything. Everything. The exercise is called a man maker. Now, there's other names for it, I believe, but I call it a man maker. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start you on the floor. I'm going to start you on the floor, and I'm going to start you with dumbbells, and I'm going to start you in a straddle leg position. You're going to be face down in a push-up position, hands on the dumbbells. I usually turn the dumbbells in slightly, and then I have a straddle leg position. And the reason for the straddle leg position is to maintain balance. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a push-up. We're going to drop down on the floor and come up. When we come up, we're going to push our elbow backwards on one side and pull that dumbbell up, creating a row. And when you do that, try not to turn your body. It's the reason for that straddle position. Try not to turn your body. The only thing that should move is your arm. If you do that, you're really firing those abs. And you may have to turn a little bit, but you're really firing those abs to try to hold yourself steady. Not only that, you're firing the lower back. You're really working your core. Lower the weight back down. Go into another push-up and repeat on the other side. Pushing that elbow backwards, trying to hold that body straight in that straddle leg position, just moving the arm. Put the weight back down, jump to your feet like you're doing a burpee, but bring the dumbbells with you. You're going to place them on your shoulders. You're going to stand up, which is basically a squat. And you're going to press up over your head with the dumbbells. And as you come back down, you're going to bring them back down, lower them all the way, dumbbells all the way down to your side. As you squat down, place the weights on the floor, kick your legs back, jump back into that split leg straddle position, and repeat. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk through this exercise real quick and tell you what you're exercising. You're doing a push-up. There you're hitting your chest, triceps, your shoulders. You're doing a row. You're going to fire your bicep, your rhomboids, your latissimus dorsi, a little bit of rear delt. And while you're standing in that locked body position, you're going to be firing your abs. You're going to be firing your lower back. You're doing a push-up again, back to the chest, triceps, shoulders, and a little bit of abdominal work, course, holding that position. You're going to go to that row. There's your rhomboids. There's your bicep. There's your latissimus dorsi, and of course your abdominals. You're going to jump to your feet by bringing your legs in quickly to get them underneath you. You're firing your abdominals. That's basically a knee crunch. You go to your feet, you start off on your toes, which fires your calves. You're going to press straight up, and as you press straight up, you're going to be firing quadriceps, you're going to be firing your glutes, you're going to be firing your hamstrings, and still some calf involvement. At the same time, you're bringing those weights up to your shoulders. That is a bicep curl. Now, as you stand erect and press up over your head, you're going to turn those dumbbells and press them up over your head. By rotating those dumbbells, you're working the entire deltoid. You're doing what we call an Arnold press. You're rotating around, you're working those shoulders, you're pressing it straight up over your head. Now you've got a little bit of the upper chest involvement. You definitely got trapezius involvement. You've got the deltoids involved, the entire shoulder group. And you're pressing up all the way over your head. You go back down and you repeat, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but you basically do negatives back all the way down, eccentric contractions, to get back into the position to start over. That is a full body combination exercise. I would tell you that you can pretty well maintain muscle, again, depending on your intensity level, depending on your fitness level, what have you, through that simple exercise. Combination exercise and condensed workouts. One more way we help you sharpen your edge. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast with Garrett Williamson. Subscribe now and be a part of the show by calling 251-278-EDGE or message us on Facebook and Instagram at Personal Edge Fitness or at Team PE on Twitter, and visit us at personaledgefitness.com.